Good to get rid of the rain. So, day 3, first day putting shoulder pads on. Had a really sharp practice yesterday, second day in helmets, and would have been disappointed if it hadn't have been. Today, some good and some bad. What you expect first day back in pads, because you gotta get acclimate yourself to the full contact stuff from the waist up. But there's portions of practice that I thought were very impressive. I thought some guys offensively, some guys that we expect a lot from, I thought really had some good days out there today. So that was good to see. Ended with some field goal work, and the kicking competition is going to be important. You got 3 guys right now vying for the spot, and all 3 of them have looked pretty good the first couple of days. So it'll be good when we get into next week and we get to a full live rush. It's pretty live right now, but full live rush is what we really need to test those guys. But solid day's work today.
3 days in is obviously early, but has anything really impressed you about just the team and how they're approaching practice?
Well, I think number one, and I figure at some point we'd talk about this today, but I really think Holton's been very sharp. He's made very few mistakes, and today in particular, I thought he was very sharp with his checks. I thought he was putting the ball where it needs to be, and just a sharp start. But I thought the offense, the 1-0 line today at the beginning of the team period had a really clean start. So I thought that looked really good. I think our speed in the secondary is that's stood out, the improvement there, just how quickly we're breaking on the ball and the way we run. So a lot of positives right now.
C.J. Johnson was a guy in the spring. He was kind of in and out some, and where is he now? Is he healthy, full go?
Yeah.
The receivers as a whole, how are they doing?
I thought they had a good day today. I thought C.J. had a couple of big plays. Had a couple that I want to see him make that he didn't make. But Josiah Hatfield had a couple of big plays today. Audie has been very consistent to start. Our tight end room, I've been very pleased with the top guys in there and their play. So I think that receiving core right there has had a very solid start to camp.
How important is it to get that tight end room and get the tight end involved in the offense?
Well, it's in our offense. We had to be better than what we were. When we got here, and last year we played with some young guys, but it's obviously something we want to be a big part of our offense in both the pass game and the run game. So we've invested a lot, personnel-wise in that room. And it's the improvement is drastic from a year ago, just with what I think our potential is there.
With Ryan, he missed so much time in the spring. How important is it for him to string together really several weeks of good practices?
That's very important to him. He's worked very hard to learn the offense. He's had minimal mental mistakes the first 3 days. I think he's competing much better than he did in the spring. He's competing in the run game. He's, competing for balls down the field. He's still not perfect, but I think, much improved over what we saw in the spring from him.
Is he a traditional tight end, or is it going to be way more than that?
I think he's a guy with a little bit different skill set. So, he's a guy that I think we're going to be able to do a lot of things with. He and Shane together, that's 2 pretty good athletes there in that room.
You got Saturday and then Monday before you put the full pads on.
Right.
What are some of the things you want to get accomplished in those 2 days?
Well, I told him out there, it's kind of like, the first day of practice versus yesterday. I love some things about the first day, but there were some things that were sloppy. And I can say the exact same thing today. And I think we've got to do a better job. I think our kids got to do a better job. I want to clean up some of the, thud tackling is not the easiest thing in the world, because you're asking them to basically go full speed, but don't take anybody to the ground. And you don't want it to get sloppy where people get slung around. So we got to clean up the finish piece a little bit, and you start fitting things full speed up front, D-line, linebackers on the O-line. It's just I want it to look better the next couple of days. And then next Tuesday it's going to be live full go for several periods of practice. So you'll have the same thing. You're going to have a lot of enthusiasm, but there's probably going to be some things that first day of full contact that you're going to have to clean up the next day out.
Coach, how much does having so many guys back, how much has that helped where you pick it up, this fall camp?
Tremendously. you guys can probably tell from the beginning of practice. You know, you have guys that actually, the first couple of groups in punt out there probably look pretty sharp compared to what you've watched the last couple of years. You know, guys kind of know where to go and what to do, and it's no different than anybody else. That first year, it's you know, you're trying to figure everybody out, and everybody's trying to figure you out, and then we had the pandemic, so last year was crazy, but you know, it's really good to have that experience back. Even the guys that are just second-year players, they have all that experience from last year to lean on. So I think it's been, you know, it's certainly good to have here the first several days.
Coach, you talk about Holton's leadership out there, but it seems like just aside from him that you also kind of have a leadership council almost now, where you have the guys in place that know how you want things ran.
Right, and it's, you know, we have a leadership group. It's about 22 players, which is big. It's bigger than I've had, but you know, they're guys that I really trust. And there's more than that. I mean, there's guys that aren't in that group that I see as leaders, and you know, guys that are, you know, it's like I keep talking about the O-line, but it's, you know, you have two groups on that offensive front that we feel pretty good about right now, and you know, there's leaders in both groups that I think are not just, you know, leaders of the O-line, but leaders of our team. And you know, it's, you know, certainly I think, you know, you look in the secondary and you got, you know, J-Mac and Malik and Nolan and DeMel, that, you know, those guys understand what we want, you know, from a competition standpoint, and you know, they hold the other guys accountable, and so it's so much better from that respect than what we've, you know, had the first couple of seasons.
You mentioned Holton, him making good decisions. He's been around and knows ECU's defense so well. Like, how do you test him, right? Put him in practice in situations where he has to make decisions. Is that difficult to do with a guy like him, or no?
Yeah, I mean, some. I mean, it's this time last year we were installing the defense for the first time. You know, so it's not like he's been through a camp with the volume that he's seeing right now. I mean, you're going to get to where you're going to have by this time next week, you're going to have a lot of stuff in to where you're going to really be able to mix it up. But you know, he does challenge you defensively, which that's good. You know, we'll be challenged in game one defensively from an experienced quarterback. You know, he sees things that you're trying to disguise, and you know, can check us into the right play, which you know, you can take advantage of it if you can, you know, do that consistently. So I think it's good for our defense, but I think it's also a challenge that you know, for us to try to continually mix things up for him, because you know, he's going to see, you know, a lot of different things thrown at him those first couple of weeks.
We talked a lot about DJ Ford and some of the older safeties, but it seems like Juwan and Teagan have made kind of a lead there. What progress have you noticed from them safety?
Well, I mean, you know, I think Juwan he's in the best shape he's been in since I've been here. He knows the defense. You know, football's important to him. You can say the exact same thing about Teagan. You know, Juwan's just a little bit older. But I think both of them are going to play a lot for us this year. Defensively, I think they're both going to play on special teams. But you know, I think they're both, you know, really good players in this league. You know, Teagan, you know, he got kind of thrown in trial by fire last year as a freshman, but really benefited from it. So I think the depth in that room, you know, Sean Dorso, you know, Warren's been a great leader. You mentioned DJ. You have some of those young guys, Laney, Julius Wood, Ty Moss. The competition in that room is so strong that it's really bringing out the best in each other. And it's, you know, it's something, you know, my first year, I think we had 3 safeties that we played, you know, and now we're sitting here where you're going to have to fight to get on the field in that room. Anything else?
Yeah, Coach, the commissioner addressed the possibilities of additions and subtractions from the Big 12 this week. Do you have any thoughts on what that, are you paying any attention to that right now?
Nah, we got to get ready for Appalachian, so I'll let the administrators worry about that stuff. So.
You got it.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.